Hello everyone, bonjour, and welcome back to the channel. Have you ever wondered why some people speak English so naturally, while others, after years of study, still freeze the moment they need to talk? It's not about talent. It's not about grammar. It's about how you train your mind. Because fluency isn't built in a classroom. It's built in your daily thoughts, in your voice, in your courage to speak even when you're not ready. Today, I'm not here to teach you English. I'm here to help you live it, to speak it, feel it, breathe it, until it becomes part of who you are. This is not just a lesson. It's your awakening. Let's begin. Why people talk in English. You see, English isn't just a language. It's a bridge, a connection between hearts, ideas, and worlds. Let me tell you about David. He's from Spain. For years, he studied grammar, filled notebooks, memorized rules, but every time he tried to speak, his voice got stuck. Until one day, something changed. He met a teacher who told him, "Stop studying English. Start living it." So he did. He stopped translating, stopped worrying about mistakes, and started talking to people. Simple conversations, coffee shops, online chats. And for the first time, he didn't feel like a student anymore. He felt human, connected. Because that's the real reason people talk in English. To connect. Not to show how smart they are, but to share who they are. Nelson Mandela once said, "If you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. But if you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart." When you speak English, you're not just learning words. You're learning to touch hearts beyond your own borders. You're opening doors to stories, opportunities, and friendships you never imagined. Think about it. How many songs, movies, and dreams live inside English? It's not just communication. It's culture. It's possibility. Steve Jobs once said, "The people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do." And English, it's the language of those dreamers. The ones who dare to think bigger, to share their voice with the world. So if you're learning English, don't treat it like homework. Treat it like a passport. Every word you learn is a new stamp, a new place you can go. David didn't become fluent overnight, but every time he spoke, even with fear, he built a bridge, word by word, smile by smile. And one day, he realized, fluency isn't about being perfect. It's about being real. About saying, "This is me. I may not speak perfectly, but I speak honestly." So if you're listening to this right now, remember, English is not just something you learn. It's something you live. And the more you live it, the more it becomes part of you. How to learn words that stick, not just words you forget. Let me ask you something, my friend. Have you ever studied a new English word, repeated it 10 times, felt confident you'd remember it, and then 2 days later, gone, vanished? You see it again and think, "Wait, I've seen this before, but what does it mean?" That's not your fault. It's not because you're bad at memorizing. It's because you were learning words, not memories. Here's the truth. Your brain doesn't remember words. It remembers stories. It remembers emotion. When you attach a word to a real feeling, a real picture, a real moment, it sticks. Let's take an example. Imagine you learned the word grateful. You could repeat it 10 times, like a robot. Grateful, grateful, grateful. Or you could close your eyes and think of a moment when someone helped you when you really needed it. Maybe your teacher stayed after class for you. Maybe your mom waited up late until you got home. Now say the word again. Grateful. Feel it. See it. That's how you make your brain remember forever. The writer Maya Angelou once said, "People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But they will never forget how you made them feel." Language works the same way. Words that carry emotion stay. Words that are just noise fade. So how do we turn vocabulary into memory? Let me give you a simple 3-step method that actually works.
Step 1. Connect each new word to a story. When you learn a new word, write one short sentence from your own life. For example, nervous. I felt nervous before my first job interview. Proud. I felt proud when I helped my friend pass the test. Every word becomes a small memory. Step 2. Use the word in real talk. Don't just keep it in your notebook, speak it. If you're talking to yourself in English, drop the new word naturally. I'm so grateful for this coffee right now. That's how it becomes part of your active vocabulary. Step 3. Review with emotion, not repetition. Instead of saying a word again and again, say it differently. Change your tone. Add a feeling. Whisper it, laugh it, sing it. The more your emotions move, the deeper the memory goes. There's a reason Nelson Mandela once said, "If you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his language, that goes to his heart." When you learn English from the heart, not the head, your progress explodes. So from now on, don't just collect words, collect experiences. Every word is a tiny piece of your story. When you speak English, you're not just using grammar, you're sharing who you are. Say it with me. I don't just learn English, I live it. Think in English, not about English. Let me tell you something real, my friend. The biggest reason people stay stuck, even after years of studying, is not grammar, not vocabulary. It's translation. Every time you think in your native language first and then try to change it into English, your brain slows down. You're not speaking, you're translating. That's why when someone suddenly talks to you, your brain freezes. It's not because you don't know the words. It's because your mind is trying to run 2 programs at once. Here's the truth. You'll never speak naturally in English until you start thinking in English. Now, I know what you're thinking, but Daniel, how do I do that? My thoughts are in my own language. And I get it. Nobody switches their brain overnight. But here's the trick. You don't have to. You just need to train your brain step by step. Think of it like this. When a kid learns their first language, they don't translate. They feel the language. They connect sounds with life. When their mom says water, They see water. They don't think, oh, that means New York. They just know. That's how you have to rebuild your English brain, through connection, not translation. Let me give you a simple method I call English inside, not outside. Step 1. Narrate your day. When you wake up, say small sentences in English about what you're doing. I'm brushing my teeth. I'm making coffee. I'm tired but ready. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to think in short English moments. These moments rewire your brain faster than any grammar app ever could. Step 2. Stop translating feelings. If you're angry, don't think I'm angry equals tôi tức giận. Just feel I'm angry. Say it. Feel how it sounds. The more you connect emotion directly with English, the more it becomes your second nature. Step 3. Live small moments in English. Watch your favorite shows in English, but not like a student. Watch like a human. Listen to the tone, not just the words. If someone says, "Come on, man," feel the vibe, not the grammar. You'll start understanding meaning without translation, and that's fluency. The author, James Clear, in his book Atomic Habits, said, "You do not rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems." So if your system is translate then speak, your brain will always be slow. But if your system is think small thoughts in English every day, you'll start to feel fluent without even noticing. Here's something I learned after coaching thousands of learners. Fluency doesn't come from studying English. It comes from living it. One thought, one word, one emotion. So next time your mind says, "I can't think in English," just smile and answer, "Yes, I can," one sentence at a time. Because every time you think in English, you're not just practicing a language. You're becoming the kind of person who speaks it.
How to practice alone and still sound natural. Let's be honest, my friend. Most of us don't have people to speak English with every day. No English friends, no foreign coworkers. Just us, our thoughts, and maybe a mirror. And that's where most people stop. They say, "I can't practice because I'm alone." But here's the truth. Being alone is not a limitation. It's your training ground. You don't need a partner to get fluent. You need presence. You need to speak like the world is listening, even when it's not. Let me tell you a story. When I first started training English speakers, one of my students, Mai, was so shy she couldn't say a full sentence in class. She told me, "Daniel, I have no one to talk to." So I told her, "Perfect. That means you can talk to yourself anytime you want." She laughed, but she tried it. Every morning, she looked in the mirror and said, "Good morning. How are you today?" Then she answered herself, "I'm good, a little sleepy, but ready to learn." 1 month later, her confidence exploded. She didn't wait for someone to talk to her. She became her own conversation. That's what practice alone really means. Here's a simple daily routine you can try. I call it the mirror talk method. Step 1. Morning mindset. Stand in front of the mirror and talk to yourself for 1 minute. Tell yourself what you're going to do today, in English. I'm going to study English for 20 minutes. Then I'll go for a walk. It doesn't matter if it's short. What matters is consistency. Step 2. Describe your world. While you cook, clean, walk, or sit on a bus, describe what you see. I'm washing the dishes. The water is cold. I'm tired, but it feels good to finish.
That's how you turn daily life into English training. Step 3. React out loud. When you watch YouTube or a movie, don't just listen, reply. If a character says, "I'm so tired," you answer, "Yeah, me too." It may sound silly, but your brain learns fastest through real-time reactions. There's a quote from Bruce Lee that says, "I fear not the man who has practiced 10,000 kicks once, but I fear the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times." Speaking alone is your kick. Every time you repeat, you're training muscle memory in your mouth, in your mind, in your voice. After weeks of this, your English doesn't sound memorized anymore. It sounds alive. And when you finally talk to a real person, your brain won't panic. It will simply respond. Because you've already practiced 1,000 times. In your room, in your mind, in your mirror. So next time you feel lonely or think you can't practice, remember this. You don't need an audience to speak confidently. You just need courage. You just need to start. Speak to your mirror. Speak to your phone. Speak to your heart. Because fluency isn't about who's listening. It's about who you're becoming. The power of emotion in language. Let me tell you something most people don't realize. Language isn't just about words. It's about feelings. You can memorize 1,000 sentences, but if you speak without emotion, your English will sound empty, like a song without music. Emotion is what gives your words life. I once worked with a student named Ling. She spoke English perfectly, grammar, pronunciation, everything. But when she talked, people didn't feel her. She sounded like a robot. One day I asked her, "Ling, what do you actually want to say? Not what's correct, but what's true." She paused. Then she said softly, "I'm scared people won't understand me." And I told her, that's exactly what you should say. That's real English. You see, fluency isn't about sounding perfect. It's about sounding human. Think about it. When you listen to people like Steve Jobs, Oprah Winfrey, or even Martin Luther King Jr., why do their words move you? Because they speak from emotion. Steve Jobs didn't say, "Follow your career path systematically." He said, "Stay hungry, stay foolish." Simple words, huge emotion. When you speak English, stop trying to perform. Start trying to connect. Say things that matter to you. Talk about your dreams, your failures, your favorite memories. If you're tired, say, "I'm tired." If you're grateful, say, "I'm so thankful for this moment." Your emotion is your accent, and that's what people remember. Here's something powerful from Dr. Andrew Huberman, a neuroscientist at Stanford. He says the brain learns fastest when emotion and focus come together. That's why you remember songs that made you cry, or movie scenes that made you smile, because emotion locks memory. So if you want to remember new words, don't just repeat them, feel them. Instead of saying, "I'm happy," close your eyes and recall a moment you were truly happy. The sound, the light, the smell.
Then say it again. I'm happy. You'll notice the word suddenly feels alive. That's real English. Learning, not through textbooks, but through experience. When I record these episodes for you, I'm not reading a script. I'm talking from my heart, because I know somewhere out there you're listening not for grammar, but for truth. So the next time you speak English, don't worry about being correct. Be connected. Let your voice carry your story, not your fear. Because language, my friend, is emotion in sound.
And when your words carry your heart, people will always listen. Think in English, not translate. When I first moved abroad, I thought my English was pretty good. I could read books, write essays, and pass every test. But the moment someone asked me, "Hey, how's it going?" my brain just froze. Not because I didn't know the words, but because I was still translating every single sentence in my head. Vietnamese to English, English to Vietnamese. It was like trying to drive a car with the handbrake on. I remember one night at a cafe in London, a group of friends were chatting, fast, full of slang, laughter everywhere. I wanted to join in, but I couldn't keep up. By the time I translated a joke in my head, they were already laughing at the next one. And I just sat there, smiling like a ghost in the room. That night, I walked home in the cold rain, and I told myself, "Daniel, you're not learning English anymore. You're learning to be English." That changed everything. I stopped studying English like a subject and started living it like a habit. When I woke up, I'd say out loud, "Good morning, Daniel." When I ate breakfast, this coffee smells amazing." When I missed home, "I really wish I could see my family today." Simple words, but they came directly in English, not through translation. At first, it felt weird, like I was pretending. But slowly, English became my inner voice. I stopped thinking in two languages. My mind started to flow naturally. There's a quote I love from James Clear, the author of Atomic Habits. "You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems." Your system for thinking in English isn't grammar. It's the small moments when you use it without realizing it. When you argue with yourself in English. When you talk to your pet in English. When you whisper, "Come on, let's go," before doing something hard. That's how your brain rewires. A friend once asked me, "Daniel, what's the fastest way to think in English?" And I said, "Stop asking, 'How do I say this in English?' Start asking, 'How would an English speaker feel this?'" You see, language isn't about translation. It's about identity. When you stop being a Vietnamese person speaking English and start being yourself in English, that's when fluency begins. So if you're still stuck translating in your head, it's okay. You're not slow. Your brain's just protecting what's familiar. But every time you choose to think in English, you're training your mind to let go of fear. And one day, you'll surprise yourself. You'll be speaking without effort, understanding without thinking, and realizing that English isn't something you study, it's something you become. Confidence and the fear of speaking. Let me tell you something honest, my friend. For years, I was terrified to speak English. I know, it sounds strange, right? I'm Daniel, the guy you're listening to now, the one who speaks English every day. But back then, I was the quiet one in class, the one who knew all the answers, but never raised his hand. Why? Because every time I tried to speak, my heart started racing. My mouth went dry, and in my head, a voice whispered, "Don't mess up. Don't sound stupid." That voice followed me for years. Then one day, everything changed. I was at a small networking event. Everyone speaking English, fast, confident, fluent. I wanted to disappear. But suddenly, the host called on me. "Hey, Daniel, would you like to introduce yourself?" I froze. Every eye in the room turned to me. My palms were sweating, my throat tight, and then something unexpected happened. I remembered a quote from Brené Brown who said,
Courage starts with showing up and letting ourselves be seen. So I took a deep breath and said, "Hi, my name is Daniel, and honestly, I'm nervous right now, but I really want to connect with everyone here." People smiled. Someone said, "Me too, man." And suddenly, the fear was gone. Because I realized it wasn't about perfect English, it was about real connection. Confidence isn't about speaking without fear, it's about speaking despite the fear. When you start focusing on communicating, not performing, everything changes. People don't remember if you use the right tense, they remember how you made them feel.
There's this idea from Will Smith that always stuck with me. He said, "Fear is not real. It is a product of thoughts you create." And he's right. The fear of speaking English isn't about English. It's about judgment. It's about that little voice in your head saying, "You're not good enough." But guess what? You don't silence that voice by being perfect. You silence it by speaking anyway, again and again, until it gets quieter. So here's what I want you to do. Next time you're scared to speak, say something simple, something honest. "I'm learning. I'm not perfect, but I'm trying." That's confidence. That's courage. And when you realize everyone else in the room is just as nervous, you'll laugh, because fear loses power when it's shared. Today, when I speak to you through this mic, I still feel a little fear. But now, I don't fight it. I use it. Because fear means growth. And confidence is just fear trained to serve you. So, my friend, if there's one thing I want you to remember, it's this. Fluency isn't built in your mouth. It's built in your mind. Every word you speak, every mistake you make is shaping the person you're becoming. Don't chase perfection. Chase connection. Feel the language. Live it. Because English isn't just something you learn, it's something you become. I'm Daniel. Thanks for sharing this journey with me. If today's story moved you, follow the channel, and let's keep growing, one real conversation at a time.